Good evening and welcome to the September 12th, 2017 School Committee meeting. We're happy to have you join us. Tonight's meeting is being recorded by Easthampton Media. Easthampton Media, channels 191, 192, and 193 is looking for volunteers. If anyone is interested in helping to tape city government meetings, please contact Kathy Lynch at 413-203-1360. Superintendent Follansby, do you have some announcements for us?
I do have a few. The next school committee meetings are Tuesdays, September 26th, October 10th and 24th, November 14th, and December 12th. There's a half day of school on Tuesday, October 3rd for teacher professional development. There is no school on Monday, October 9th due to Columbus Day. There are half days of school on Thursday, October 19th and Friday, October 20th due to parent-teacher conferences. For community members or others who do not have children in our schools and want to receive the superintendent updates, please visit our website at www.epsd.us and click on the Click to Subscribe under Latest Superintendent Update.
Thank you very much. I also have an announcement that I would like to share with the community. At the last meeting of the school committee on August 24th, we heard an extensive presentation and engaged in lengthy discussion about culture and climate issues at Easthampton High School and across the district. The superintendent presented to us and to the community several reports, including the findings from her own investigation into matters related to racism and other forms of bias at the high school. Most importantly, Superintendent Follansby laid out a 10-point action plan that serves as the beginning of a 3-year plan to help ensure that all of our schools are safe, welcoming learning environments for every student and adult, free of bias based on race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, ability, nationality, or any other form of identity. Since then, the superintendent and her team have continued to put those plans into action. And the superintendent will be providing an update on those plans later on this evening. But I'd like to say that it is unfortunate that we did not receive the report on the findings from the Attorney General's office investigation prior to our school committee meeting on August 24th. Instead, the report was released to the press the very next day, even before it was shared with the school committee or the superintendent. We consider it very unfortunate that any member of this community had to read about that report in the newspapers instead of hearing about it from us. Since then, the Attorney General's office has apologized to us for the way the report was shared. On behalf of the school committee, I want to take a few minutes tonight to say a few words about that report, in part to clear up any misinformation conveyed in the press or in the community. First, and most importantly, the entire school committee and the superintendent take the findings in the Attorney General's report very seriously. We were shocked and upset when we read that report. While it did not contain new information, the severity of the language used and the way it was presented was disturbing to all. We are particularly troubled by the investigators' findings that there were disparities in how disciplinary matters were handled based on a student's race or ethnicity. Just as troubling are the findings about the extent of bias-related incidents of bullying and harassment taking place and the lack of urgency to report, address, curtail, or prevent such behaviors. It is incumbent upon us, and by us I mean school administrators, district leaders, and yes, the school committee, to accept responsibility for any wrongdoing that occurred in the past. If these incidents were as widespread as the Attorney General's report describes, we let down the students entrusted to our school district. The school committee acted immediately and thoroughly when we became aware of the situation, but it is clear now that the situation had escalated significantly before we were even aware of what was occurring. We cannot undo what was done. All we can do is take every action necessary to make the school stronger and safer moving forward. That includes ensuring that any gaps in policies, procedures, and protocols that led to the escalation are closed for good. It is also important to underscore what the Attorney General's report did and did not conclude. It spelled out a number of interventions that the school and the district must undertake immediately to rectify the situation, and we have signed a memorandum of agreement that outlines those very steps, including extensive training in bullying and harassment prevention, review and updating of conduct policies, and ongoing monitoring and reporting of disciplinary incidents, to name just a few. Some of this work is already underway. We have asked the superintendent to provide periodic updates to the school committee and the community about implementation of the action plans, and we look forward to the oversight and input that the stakeholder advisory group will provide. We have asked the entire Easthampton community to join with the superintendent and the school committee in moving forward and putting all of our energy into the changes that are critically needed to get this right. We cannot do so, however, if we remain mired in the past and entrenched in a blame game. The Attorney General's report affirmed that we have a solid plan in place and provided us with the autonomy to execute the plan. It did not cite any violations of the law. It did not recommend discipline or termination of any staff at the school or district level. In short, it stated that Easthampton Public Schools has both the will and the capacity to ensure that mistakes of the past are not repeated in the future. Therefore, on behalf of the members of the school committee, I want to reaffirm tonight what I stated on August 24th and on numerous other occasions. We are an organization devoted to learning. It is not only students who learn in our classrooms, we are all learners, including parents, teachers, staff, administrators, superintendents, and school committee members. Let us all recognize the difficult, often painful lessons of the past year as opportunities to improve and grow as individuals, as a school district, and as a community. The Attorney General, Maura Healey, had the following to say, quote, "We thank the Easthampton School Committee, Mayor Cadger, Superintendent Vallensby, Police Chief Alberti, and the people of Easthampton for your shared and clear commitment to ensuring a welcoming and inclusive environment for all students. We appreciate your full cooperation in our process and offer our congratulations as you begin the new school year in this positive way." Unquote. We hope all of you will move forward with us as we work to ensure that every school is safe, supportive, and welcoming for all. And now I'd like to move on to correspondence.
There is none.
Okay, we do not have any correspondence. Gifts.
No.
We do not have any. Very unusual. We're usually blessed with the generosity of many in our community.
And correspondence.
And correspondence as well, correct. Okay, so that moves us to the public speak portion of our meeting. If anyone would like to come up and address the committee, you can feel free to do so at this time. I'd ask that any comments be limited to no more than 2 minutes. And I'd also respectfully ask that anyone who's coming to speak would focus only on speaking things that have not previously been shared with the committee. Would anyone like to come up and address the committee at this time?
Hi, Noreen Nardi from Willow Circle. I just don't know in Superintendent Fallonsby update if you can clarify. There was some, I guess, confusion. What if you were asked agreement with the Attorney General's office before you actually read the report? Because it was reported that it was signed, I think, last school committee meeting, but the committee didn't actually get the report till the following day. So if you can, I don't know if you're able to clarify that in your discussions or your update, it would be appreciated.
Thank you, Noreen. And I'll just take a minute to clarify that one point. The school committee did not see that report until after the memorandum of agreement was signed. In fact, we were not necessarily expecting a report per se, and it was presented as a letter to us, not actually an official report. So, yeah, hope that answers your question. Okay, anyone else? Please. And if you just state your name and where you're from.
My name is Paul St. Pierre. I'm from 211 East Street. I realize this is not the school planning board, but you are the school committee, and this is a matter of concern to all the schools and all parents. You know, we're talking about a new potential school construction project next year, and there was a forum in July that was, you know, fairly informative in some ways. I saw that there were multiple plans that were being considered by the school, including a consolidated pre-K through 8 and a consolidated pre-K through 4. But there was very little information about the pre-K through 4. Presumably, it would be significantly less expensive than a pre-K through 8, as it would house half the students, need 1 cafeteria instead of 3. But I know this is for the planning board. My concern is that the more expensive of a project that is presented to the town, to the taxpayers, to the voters for approval in the spring, the less likely it is that they will actually approve the project. And that'll push us back even further. And again, I know that this should be addressed to the planning board, but I don't see any planning board meetings this month, and I know that this month we will be reporting to the state what our decision is as to the project we intend to pursue, and it is my opinion, and the opinion of other people as well, that if we were to pursue a less ambitious project, perhaps do a consolidation of 3 schools only instead of 4, that we could still meet the challenges of the elementary schools that are enormous concerns for so many parents at the lowest cost to the taxpayer and have the greatest chance of voter approval when it comes to a vote in the spring. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. And just by way of informing the public in general, the school building committee is the committee that's working closely with the state on the plans for a new school that will be presented to the voters in May. And so they would be an excellent resource for more detailed, complete information and answers to questions on that topic. So I just would encourage anyone to get in touch with the school building committee, and you could do that through our Superintendent Fallonsby. If you wanted to send her an email or talk with her, she could put you in touch with the right people to discuss some of the details involved in that.
There also is quite a bit of information on the school website under School Building Project drop-down menu. If you might check there for the educational programs, it gives you some more information, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any other people interested in speaking to the committee? Very good, thank you. We'll move on to our subcommittee reports. Finance.
There is no finance report. We haven't met.
Okay, policy review.
We also have not met. I'm hoping that we'll schedule either next week or the following to continue working on the memorandum of understanding with the SRO, and then also to start looking at some policies to update surrounding discipline.
Thank you very much. Okay, Collaborative for Educational Services.
The next meeting is September 27th.
Okay. And next then we'll move on to, Marissa, do we have an education policy update?
I do actually.
Oh, okay.
So, for those in the audience or who might be watching, we added this standing item to the agenda, I guess early of this calendar year, and for the purpose of sort of reminding ourselves to be thinking about the ways that our local public schools are affected by things that are occurring at the state level and at the federal level. And so it's just an opportunity to highlight some news or some policies that might have bearing on the experience of kids in Easthampton public schools. And I haven't had an update in a little while. We've been focused very internally, but a piece of news came across my desk that I thought was worth sharing with the committee. Perhaps you've all already seen this, but as we remember last election, there was the question about lifting the cap on charter schools, which was roundly defeated by Massachusetts voters. And the Office of Campaign and Political Finance had just recently investigated the largest financer on the pro-charter side of that referendum. And they were given the largest fine in 44-year history due to having concealed their donors. And in revealing their donors, it became apparent that they were largely backed by wealthy financiers from out of the state, big investment, capital investment people from New York City, heirs to the Walmart fortune, as well as large donations from Governor Charlie Baker's, 2 of his administrators, including Paul Sagan, who he then is appointed as the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education Chairman, and Mark Ninley, who is a former Bain Capital executive who was recently promoted to a cabinet post overseeing cybersecurity. So it was interesting, of course, to discover some of the, at least the financial motives behind wanting to see charter schools proliferate in Massachusetts. And also, you know, just a good reminder of why, one of the many, many reasons why I have so much faith and value in public education, because we don't answer to those kinds of forces. We are here for the people.
Thank you, Marissa.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we'll turn it over now to Superintendent Follansby for an update on our opening days of school.
Thank you, Deb. So I wanted to just take a few minutes to share with you what the opening days were like. We had 3 professional development days in August for our faculty and staff, and that was August 29th, 30th, and 31st. And on August 30th, we had Phil Fogelman of the Anti-Defamation League. I've spoken about this previously in other school committee meetings. So he spent a day at our high school with 3 of his trainers, and with our high school staff and our middle school staff, including teachers, paraeducators, custodians, and administrative assistants, also our acting SRO, to bring their Classroom of Difference training to our staff. Classroom of Difference provides teachers, administrators, and other educational professionals with the knowledge, tools, and resources to address issues of bias, prejudice, and discrimination, and promote an inclusive learning environment in which individual differences are respected and valued. This was a full-day training, and it consisted of work and small group work. The response from the surveys done at the end of the training was very positive. And Principal Burke reports that some of the techniques that were learned during the training were seen in classroom instruction the following week. We also had inclusive practices training at the elementary level. On August 30th, the elementary staff participated in a training with Sharon Jones, who is our inclusive practices consultant, and she'll continue to work with our staff throughout the year. Inclusive practices trainings focus on giving teachers tools for supporting the most vulnerable student populations so all students can access classroom instruction and get the most out of their educational experience. So at the high school, the freshman and new student orientation went well. They changed a few things this year with a focus on a new advisory, so we're starting the advisory program at the high school. And the focus for the freshmen was on team building and in an advisory session with their teachers. The day started off with these team building activities. Staff were also able to use, as I mentioned earlier, what was used in the ADL training in their classrooms, including showing the video, Imagine a World Without Hate. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. You can go to the Anti-Defamation website and you'll find the video there. It was part of the training on the 30th, and I think it touched everyone who watched it. All the EHS athletic teams have begun their fall schedule, and auditions for the fall musical, High School Musical, that will be our musical this year.
That's going to get confusing.
Yeah, but fun, have begun, and the musical will be in November 16th to the 19th. So don't miss it, and there'll be all kinds of activities leading up to it.
Oh, I have a daughter that's going to be thrilled.
Yes, we're hoping that everybody will be excited about it. Whitebrook Middle School. One of our Whitebrook students moved to Houston over the summer, and his new school suffered tremendous damage from Hurricane Harvey. So Whitebrook Middle School is having a fundraiser this Friday. Students will donate $1 to wear their favorite hat for the day. The goal is to raise $500 to send to Dulles Middle School in Sugar Land, Texas. They're hoping to be able to reopen the school by the end of the month. $150 has been donated so far by staff, and so we're really very proud of the work that our students and our staff at Whitebrook Middle School are doing. Maple School, I talked to Principal Averill, and she said it was a wonderful start. Our new teachers are exceptional and have jumped right into the Maple culture. Our returning teachers are strong, excited, and eager to have a wonderful year. Our first 3 days were filled with wonderful conversations, great professional development, and an ongoing unified commitment to be our very best for our students. This year's all-school theme is the act of kindness, which was a group collaboration, and she says, I'd say we're off to a great beginning. There's a special feel this year that's hard to put into words. At Center and Pepin, our highlight with staff was how well everyone bonded with the new 9 teachers joining our staff. This is from Principal Ribello. And the positive energy felt in all our meetings and professional development. the inclusive practices, which was the inclusive practices mentioned earlier. All students will be painting a stone that shows something about them that they like or a positive message. I hope you all saw there was a little article in the Gazette about this initiative. And Senator Pepin teachers started the pathway with their own painted stones during those first days of school. I also wanted to talk to you and give you, Principal Rebello also asked that I mention the fantastic job some of the families did with mulching and landscaping in the front of Pepin School. Principal Rebello reports, these are her words, it looks amazing. So we're really very proud and thank those parents and families for doing that work for us. I wanted to give you an update, as Chair Luznia told you that I would be giving an update at each school committee meeting on our 10-point action plan and the steps that we've taken along the way. So we're in week 2 of the school year, and we were asked by the AG's office to not plan or schedule trainings until after the investigation was complete. This was challenging for us because, as you know, we did not get that report until August 25th. And so we are not as far ahead in scheduling trainings as we would be if we could have started the work during this summer. But that being said, we have already made progress on steps 1 through 6, and maybe a little more. Action step 1, and I did put the action plan over on the table if you'd like to pick up a copy, and also the message from the Attorney General's office is over there if you'd like a copy of that. So action step 1 was to engage staff in anti-bias training. And as I mentioned earlier, this training occurred already in the first days of professional development for our teachers, for middle and high school staff. Training will be embedded in elementary professional development and will be reported out at a future meeting. Action step 2, engage students in anti-bias training. The high school staff and I will be meeting with trainers from the Department of Justice's Community Relations Service next week to discuss how we will bring the SPIRIT, Student Problem and Identification of Resolution of Issues together, that's what SPIRIT stands for, program to our high school. We started talking with the DOJ and Muhammad Ali Salam about this last spring, but as I mentioned earlier, we had to put our plans on hold, and once we were able to begin planning, we had to find a time when they could meet with us. So the closest time that they could meet with us would be next week. The Community Relations Service is a component, as I mentioned, of the U.S. Department of Justice. CRS is a specialized federal conciliation service available to state and local officials to help resolve and prevent racial and ethnic conflict, violence, and civil disorder. Action step 3, engage parents in anti-bias training. We will be working with the Department of Justice and the Anti-Defamation League to plan this training. We have not yet met with them to set up the training, and again, because we were somewhat limited in the time that we've had to be able to arrange these meetings. Action step 4, update policies and procedures. Principal Burke and Assistant Principal Wilson are meeting again on Thursday. They met this summer with some staff. They'll be meeting again on Thursday with staff members to review and revise the student handbook. The next step will be to take the proposed revisions to the Student Council for review. Revisions will be brought to the school committee for approval in October, and they also were working with Phil Fogelman from the Anti-Defamation League in reviewing the policies and procedures. So we've had outside experts helping us all along the way here. Action step 5, work on the bias incident response protocol, and that is underway and will be completed this week. Action step 6, convene a stakeholder advisory committee. And Levin are meeting on Thursday. Julianne Levin is our Director of Curriculum. They're meeting on Thursday to develop the application for those interested in participating in the Stakeholder Advisory Committee. Once the application is available, a message will be sent out to parents, staff, and students on how to access the application. And I have already received some emails from community members, from parents who are interested in the advisory committee. And if you don't happen to get the message about the application, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me, and I'll give you directions on how to apply. And action step 7, see there was another one, offer regular advisory periods for Easthampton High School students. And as I mentioned earlier, the first advisory period happened with the freshmen, the first day of classes. I also wanted to report out on the Diversity and Inclusion Officer. A component of the Memorandum of Agreement with the Attorney General's office was to appoint a diversity officer at the high school. As we didn't receive the MOA until August 24th, Julianne Levin, our curriculum director, was appointed diversity officer at the high school until the position could be posted and filled by a high school staff member. Ms. Levin has an office at the high school where she is now spending her days, and we expect to have a staff member appointed in the next week or two. On the action plan, you can see that number 8 is about building capacity in the LEAP model. And I mentioned in my report on August 24th that Julianne Levin has received the training to become a trainer in the LEAP model, which is about inclusiveness and diversity and supporting our district in supporting our most vulnerable students. But she has a wealth of background in equity and diversity education and is doing a wonderful job for us at the high school right now. She's already well known by our staff members and many of our students. So we will report on who the permanent diversity officer will be as soon as that is in place, and I expect that will be within the next week, if not the beginning of the following week. And those are my updates so far.
Thank you. Comments or questions or?
Just, you mentioned there was a, I know that for the benefit of anyone who's running, one of the rules is you're not supposed to respond to the press, but I think it was remarkable to read an editorial in a recent issue of the local paper that lauded the innovations and initiatives that were underway at a number of schools in the Valley, and to see that paper overlook the LEAP presentation and the work that Julianne Levin, seems to me that it couldn't have been accidental. But I think that it's terrific that Julianne Levin is serving in this role temporarily. I think that was a terrific initiative. I think it's a credit to this school district that she's doing what she's doing. I think it's a shame that the local paper, who had a reporter in this room the night of that presentation, chose not to give any mention to it.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
My only comment is, within a very short period of time, it looks like we've gotten a lot of programming underway. I'm pretty impressed that we hit that many as you went down the list. So I know we're going to continue to check every few months on the progress and the impact of those programs, but it's nice that that's gotten off to such a quick start, especially given our short period of receiving that.
And it was a team effort. Everybody worked together to make this happen, and that's how we will move forward, if we can all work together to make those forward progress movements.
I did have one question. On number 3, we were talking about engaging parents, and I was writing quickly. I wrote down soon. Do we have any idea of how soon is soon?
Well, again, it's being able now to schedule with the Anti-Defamation League people and the Department of Justice people. The Department of Justice people had talked about doing a forum and training for our parents early on in the spring, but again, when the Attorney General's office took over the investigation, there's sort of an agreement between the Department of Justice and the Attorney General's office that if one is taking on an investigation, the other one drops back until the investigation is completed. So we will now re-engage with them. I've gotten in touch with them already, and try to find a time when we can meet and plan this training.
Are we thinking that we can get parents involved by October, November? Is
Definitely.
that reasonable?
Well, that would be my plan. We have to
Okay.
see what their availability is.
That's our goal.
Yes,
All
that's our goal.
right. Okay, thank you.
It's really helpful to get this detailed update.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think if that's a semi-regular occurrence, that would be great.
I do plan to update every school committee meeting.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Can you talk just a little bit to the process for finding and hiring the diversity inclusion officer?
Yes, there's a posting. This is a EEA, Easthampton Education Association requirement of the contract. So we're looking for someone who is in our district currently, and there are qualifications that are articulated in that posting for what we wish this individual to, the qualifications that we wish this individual to have, and the duties of the individual. And so that has been posted. There's a 10-day posting. And then at the end of that posting, we would interview any of the candidates who come forward if there happen to be more than one candidate, and then a decision will be made.
Great. And is that you? Is there anyone else who's making that decision?
That would probably be a team of, probably Julianne Levin would be on that team, and obviously the high school administration. And normally I'm not on those teams, but we haven't determined whether I'll be on the team or not. But certainly Julianne Levin will be there as our current diversity officer, and as well as high school administration. And I would guess that there might be others who are invited to attend.
Do you usually have a teacher involved in that too?
Usually for those stipend positions, it's the administration who chooses the applicant. But in this case, it would certainly be a collaborative effort between administration and Julianne Levin.
Okay. I have gotten some good feedback from Julianne, because some teachers and faculty who have had her with the training, I think for the elementary school, and then even some teachers from the high school, or some staff from the high school is just, and I don't know if you guys haven't had a chance to meet her, she's a wonderful person. She is a positive, approachable. I just think she's such an asset to have in her. She is, working as the interim diversity officer. I just thought, what a great role for her right now. So I'm happy that she stepped into that during this transition period.
We're very fortunate to have Julianne on our staff. She joined our staff last year, and she's just been a tremendous asset in so many ways.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I really, like Marissa said, I appreciate the frequency of the reports. I think it's going to be really helpful for us and for the community moving forward. So looking forward to that. Thank you.
Before Superintendent Follansby, before you move on to the rest of your update on enrollment numbers, I'd like to call on Karina Patterson and see.
We forgot Karina,
Yes,
didn't
I mean we usually have a clue for me here on this agenda to talk about a student activities update, and I skipped over that. So I just wanted to backtrack a little bit and ask you if you had anything to share with us about the opening of school. What's
The
happening?
first few days went well, as said, and I mentioned a car wash for the senior class at the last school committee, which was held last weekend, and that went very well as well. And we have an open house at the high school on Thursday from 6 to 8. And then, as Ms. Follansby said, the auditions for High School Musical were today, tomorrow, and I believe maybe one other day. And the French exchange students will be coming in October, from October 16th to the 26th, I believe. So
That'll be
That's
exciting.
exciting.
That was so
Yeah.
much fun last year.
Are you participating in that program this year?
I am.
You
I'm
are?
hosting a student,
Excellent.
so that'll
awesome.
be fun.
Excellent.
And I think she'll be here for one of the meetings, so I can see if she wants to come.
Cool.
That'd be great.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be nice.
Yeah. So that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Practice my French.
Okay, then we'll move on for your update, Superintendent Follansby, on the enrollment numbers.
Yes, these are very preliminary enrollment numbers, but I did want to share them with you. And my assistant Sue Colby gave you last year's numbers. They weren't in your packet, so you just have them there next to to you, but I just want to give you a general idea of enrollment. The official figures happen October 1st. We report to the state October 1st and also March 1st. And so right now, our numbers are holding pretty stable from what we've had in the past. What I do see is that we're getting more and more choice applications coming in, even after school has opened up. I signed another few of them today, so that will help to increase our enrollment. And so this just kind of gives you also an idea of class size. And you can see that with the budget that we've had, we've been able to keep our class sizes small. In the elementary schools in particular, and really pretty much throughout the district. We have a few larger class sizes at the middle school, but that's still within an appropriate range for middle school students. And our Smith vocational students are holding about the same, and our CTEC students have increased. CTEC has put a number of new programs into place which are very attractive to our students who want vocational education. What we like about CTEC is that our students get to stay with us for a half day for the academics, and then they go to, CTEC stands for Career Tech in West Springfield for the other half day for their vocational training. So they can still participate in athletics and all other kinds of things that are part of our high school community. And our preschool numbers are certainly healthy, and we expect that they will continue to grow. We had to open another preschool last year because of the increase in numbers, and so we predict that these children will move through our district and continue to help our enrollment stay stable or grow, which is an anomaly in Western Massachusetts. Most districts are suffering decreased enrollment in Western Massachusetts, some to the detriment of their programs. So we feel very fortunate about this. And we think also that if we are able to get a new school building project, that will also help us to keep our enrollment and grow our enrollment as the years go on. So I did want to mention that there will be another forum in December on the school building project, and we are hoping to have members of a K-8 building or a district with K-8 schools attend that forum and be there to kind of share their experience and answer your questions.
Very good. I just wanted to ask, in the future, could we get details on like Easthampton High School's class size by classes?
Well, it all depends on the course that they're taking.
Right, but could we see, for example, Algebra 2 has three sections and the class size is such and such. Biology has 2 sections and these are the class sizes, like a detail
Certainly.
by class. That would be great.
Certainly. I'll ask Sue Colby to make a note of that so we remember to do that next year.
Do you know what the possible explanations are about the change from grade 10 in 2016 to grade 11, am I right? Yes, in 2017. It seems like that's the biggest single decline in any grade level, and accounts for 2/3 of the overall change in the enrollment.
I don't have the specifics on it because I just got these figures as well. Some of it may be that some of our more of our students went to Career Tech, although it doesn't really appear that way. But I will look into that.
Yeah, the number of students in CTEC overall is down by 9. But right, it was 52 last year. It's 43 this year.
Right, right.
And Smith Voc is the same.
So
about
I will
36%.
look into that and get that information for you at the next school committee meeting.
Peter, could I just ask a clarifying question?
Yep.
What are you referring to? You're saying
So if you look
10,
at grade 10 in 2016 at this point, it was 135
Right.
a year ago. If you look
Right.
at grade 10 now, it's 120. Sorry, if you look at grade 11 now, which would be where they would go, it's
Right.
123. So that's a drop of 12 students.
Okay.
And maybe people move out of the district. Maybe it just seems like an unusual place The transition points historically that we've paid attention to have been elsewhere. So I wondered if it was just a series of one-off events that came together, but that's, most of the other numbers, right, it goes 123 to 126, goes 108 to 105. So those, one class goes up by 3, one class goes down by 3 of the 3 that you can compare. And then one has a loss 4 times that amount. So it stood out to me. I've only had the sheet for, I'm just looking over it quickly for places to pay attention to be sure that there's not a missed opportunity there for increased retention.
I will look into that and get the information for you for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Under WVMS, at the end of the grades, there was acronym BEST. What does that stand for?
Oh, I knew you would ask me. It's a self-contained program for students who aren't able to access the curriculum in their classrooms, and I'm sorry, but it escapes me at this moment.
That's okay.
But I will let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? All right, thank you very much, Superintendent Follansbee.
Okay.
Moving on to warrants and payroll.
I move to approve the school payroll dated August 31st, 2017 in the amount of $454,933.04.
Second.
Motion has been made, it's been seconded to approve the school payroll dated August 31st, 2017 in the amount of $454,933.04. All those in favor? Motion passes.
I move to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment dated August 31st, 2017 in the amount of $44,198.80.
Second.
There's a motion, it's been seconded to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment dated August 31st, 2017 in the amount of $44,198.80. All those in favor? Motion passes.
I move to approve the school payroll dated 14 September 2017 in the amount of $496,513.56.
Second.
There's a motion, it's been seconded to approve the school payroll dated September 14th, 2017 in the amount of $496,513.56. All those in favor? Motion passes.
I move to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment dated 14 September 2017 in the amount of $249,148.19.
Second.
There's a motion, it's been seconded to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment dated September 14th, 2017 in the amount of $249,148.19. All those in favor? Motion passes.
All right, I think that's,
And just as a reminder, school committee members review all of that data in the business office prior to the meetings and voting to approve.
okay. So we have executive session. Thought the executive session was that to be withheld until matters are resolved? Or are we now releasing that, the 8/24 executive session? So, I'm not sure. Let me double check on this. We all have a copy of the minutes, so I guess we can figure this out and then release them. On the executive session minutes, so it's a motion to approve the executive session minutes, it's a motion to approve the minutes of the August 24th executive session of the school committee with the stipulation to hold executive session minutes until matters are resolved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion. It's been seconded to approve the executive session minutes on
For August 24th.
for August 24th. All those in favor?
And a motion to approve, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, we only have 2 in favor.
Is this wasn't included in the packet, right?
It's not included, no.
It was a separate email.
The other,
Executive session was sent
Right.
by a separate
Okay.
correspondence.
Sorry to take this.
Okay, I'll ask
Sorry.
one more time. All those in favor?
I'll abstain. I haven't looked at it yet.
Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favor and 1 abstention.
Right.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Oh yeah, here it is. Yep, I completely skipped it.
Motion to approve the minutes of the August 24th Easthampton Public School District School Committee meeting.
Before we, okay, does someone want to second that?
second?
Okay, before we vote on that, I just want to ask, Sue, did you get word about, there's reference to comments that I made at that meeting as attached that are, or that follow that aren't here? Did-
They are attached to the actual minutes.
Okay.
Because there's additional pages that doesn't get emailed to you.
Okay.
They are
Right, this-
All right,
attached to
very
the
good.
additional minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So we have a motion, it's been seconded to approve the minutes from the school committee meeting on August 24th, 2017. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
I have a motion, sorry, give me a second. Motion to approve the school choice opening request for grade 11. Clearly would have, sorry. I'll just make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
I think given the data that we just looked at, that there's room.
Okay. A motion has been made to open a school choice slot.
In grade 11.
Two school choice slots in grade 11.
Correct.
It's been seconded. All those in favor? Motion passes.
And then, sorry, I'm trying to get the exact wording on the field trip requests. Bear with me for 1 second so that I can just, somebody else has it clear. I was back on the number data.
Shows there's 2.
Yeah, there's 2. There's the initial one, which is the White Brook Middle School. Here we go. White Brook Middle School going to Madison Square Garden on the 20th of September. This is put forward by Ms. Breyer and David, I'm not sure. Dole. Thank you. So I move that we approve this request as the principal has
Let's say
approved it.
1917.
Second?
Second, oh,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
There's
The
a
request-
motion.
The
The
request
request says 1917.
It does.
I think they mean
Probably
27.
I think we can
We'll
amend
cut them
it.
some slack on that.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it was just a little blast from the past.
Yeah.
I wonder if the cost per student would be a little less than $25.
Madison Square Garden, it might have existed then. I wonder when they did
Now I
that.
know what we're all gonna Google in about 20 minutes, so.
There's a motion, it's been seconded to approve the out-of-state field trip request for White Brook Middle School to Madison Square Garden in New York City on September 20th, 2017. All those in favor? We have one other.
And then a motion, right, there's
Oh,
a,
two
there's a
others?
second.
Yeah. There was,
Two, oh, yes, thank you, sorry. Right, there's 2 for the high school, and they're here. They're in
we
the,
haven't gotten field trip requests in a
Yep.
while, it's been summer break.
here we go. Ready? So Ms. Davis has proposed, I move that we approve the out-of-state field trip request to go to Hartford Stage with Miss Amy Davis on the 27th of September. They're going to see a Midsummer's Night's Dream. So I move that we approve that request.
Second.
There's a motion, it's been seconded to approve the out-of-state field trip request for Easthampton High School students to go to the Hartford Stage in Hartford, Connecticut on,
The 27th.
and this request was made on, oh, no, the trip is September
27th.
27th, 2017. All those in favor? Motion passes.
And
Thank
then,
you.
and then finally, also, from Ms. Davis, this trip is in March, on the 8th of 2018, not 1918, 2018. It says 18 here, it's that, Amy's smart. If you just put 18, then you don't get
Then it
caught
could
out on the
be either
19 or the 20.
century.
Is the drama club going to see a Shakespearean play on the Orient Express at Hartford Stage? So I would move that we would approve that trip.
Second.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a motion, it's been seconded to approve the out-of-state field trip request for Easthampton High School students to go to the Hartford stage in Hartford, Connecticut to see play Orient Express on March 8th, 2018. All those in favor? Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn, it's been seconded. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
We do need one more signature on the